Oh, yeah, we're quite fast. You know.
That was a lot louder than we anticipated. The volume works, guys, on the
Yes, good.
All rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Do a quick roll call here to determine a quorum. Councilor Baumgartner. Here. Evers. Here. Ferguson.
Here.
Howard. Here. Here too. We're up. Have a quorum here. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll begin the meeting here with a public forum section of the meeting. Our typical process here is to close down the meeting, invite the public to engage council. Just as a heads up, we do have public comment also for this conditional use permit later on in the meeting. So if you're here to comment on that, it'd be more appropriate to do that during our public hearing under the discussion items. But if you're here for a different reason and want to address council, you can do that now. Speaking time will be limited to 3 minutes, but if there's any unfinished business afterwards, we'll definitely direct staff to work towards a resolution. So is anybody here to address council on items outside of the conditional use permit? Not seeing any action there. So we'll close down the public forum portion of the meeting and move on with the setting of the agenda. We've had the agenda here for a few days. If there's anything from the consent agenda you want moved into discussion items, now would be a good time to make that recommendation. Otherwise, I'll just call for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. Sorry.
Motion's been made by Howard, seconded by Baumgartner to approve the agenda as written. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda has been set as written. We'll move down to the consent agenda here. It includes meeting minutes of February 2, hiring of a probationary firefighter, approval of a donation. Pardon me, what was the details of that?
Yeah, the Randall County Republican Party was donating $50 to the Olivia Library.
Okay. We have the acknowledging of offsite gambling for Corn Capital Days. We have the approving of acquisition of a permanent utility easement, authorization of directional boring for the 2026 electrical conversion project, authorizing of employment to Bowden Pam as a liquor store clerk, and the approval of the head clerk position description. Call for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Nope. Second.
Motion's been made by Baumgartner, seconded by Evers to approve the consent agenda. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda carries as written. All right, now we'll move down into the discussion items here. Discussion item A is a public hearing for a conditional use permit. The process for this process is that we'll receive some staff reports. We'll receive public comment, and then we'll go back into the regular meeting into a resolution where the council will vote on actually approving the conditional use permit. So now we'll take some staff reports.
Thank you. So the conditional use permit that you see before you today, this came in front of the Planning Commission at their January meeting. It's for Grace Community Church to move locations from their current downtown location along Highway 212 to the location that's currently owned by the business Lockdown Barbell that they are looking to sell. So that's why you see them as the joint application, because you can only apply for a conditional use permit if you own the property. Obviously, the church has no desire in moving locations if they can't operate out of that location. And so this is kind of a partnership application. The Planning Commission reviewed it. There was one condition that was recommended that you'll see. But otherwise, I'd be happy to kind of turn it over for Grace Community Church to explain what they're doing. You wanna come to the table, because then the camera can see you a little bit.
Come to this table?
Yes.
We call it the hot seat.
So. This opportunity came up to move. Our building is where we're living is the church is older. It's actually extremely expensive to run for the utilities for what we do. And we're renting the space next to it as well. And so the opportunity came up to buy this building. And it would really add more space for us, more usable space. We have more kids in the church and we need to section those off a little bit so that they can have their own safe space and all that. Which most of you are kind of aware of how that works. So that's one of the reasons we're attracted to it for that reason, but we also have some issues related to traffic and being on the highway with young people and elderly, like Dr. Hawkinson, when he's coming in, he's getting very fragile at this stage of the game. And here's an example of just the elderly it's tricky on the highway because there isn't a lot of other parking. You always have to walk in the streets, and then the families with little kids. So for us, it's a big advantage that way to move. So that's what kind of precipitated it. But the advantage we see to the city is that we're already doing what we're doing there in that building. We don't see changing any of that, but just for what you're aware of, what we do is we offer a free coffee service. Obviously, Masters was a full-fledged restaurant. And when that closed down and then we had the building, we just decided it was such a nice meeting place and people used it for different things that we would try and keep it open. So we just serve coffee. And it's from 7:30 to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. It's free coffee. You can free will donate it, but it's really free. We're giving it the city. People stop. We've had lots of different people stop on. Our church uses it a lot, but we've had people from the cities driving out. They have to meet somebody here. This is a nice place to meet. And some free coffee is a nice bonus. They're driving through. They just want some coffee. They're kind of surprised. So we've made some connections that way with people, and it's kind of a nice service. Some of the people downtown, Craig would come from next door and he'll have coffee sometime and we'll say we'll chat. So we kind of like to keep that part of what we're doing going. It would be the same thing. That's what we would do there. It's just a little safer space for the church. The other things, we actually do some ministry that we're hoping to expand in, which is counseling. Right now we open our place to the AA program. And they're happy, we don't charge anything for that. We're happy to provide that. But someday we hope to maybe do more counseling and more behavioral health stuff. Because that's a big part of what churches do, even though it may not appear that way. But that would be one of our goals. And that would be something that we would also offer no charge, which makes it distinctly different than most mental health services. And that would be, obviously, it has a spiritual bent to it. And we don't apologize for that, but that's also why it would be free. So.
And you're not proposing any changes to the building?
No changes to the building. And on the exterior, all we do is change the sign. We would hope to stay a pleasant place to come, people going to shop, they have a place to stop and go to the bathroom. We open our bathroom to people, public Wi-Fi service, things like that. None of that would change. The exterior doesn't change. The interior, we would move some walls. But it's an open building, so it's not any structural changes. It's like a pole barn structure, so. We were told anyways, it's pretty easy to shift things around. We don't plan to do a lot of that even right away at the beginning, but as time goes on, if we grow, we would arrange it a little differently.
Sure.
Questions? That was fast and brief.
Well, I think the council probably has a good idea, you're moving churches there. To the old pizza ranch or the current barbell facility there. This will open up, I guess, opportunity.
That's correct. We would love to sell our building, and that has 3 apartments above it. And we use 1.5 of them for ourselves, but you would have all 3 coming back to public renting again. Plus, Carlotta still owns, Carlotta Nations and John, they still own the building next to us. I mean, we would be happy to co-list it if somebody wanted to buy both of them. That's another apartment up there too. So for a potential buyer, there's 4 continuing on the market apartments that could be good to go regardless of what happens downstairs. I will say that if somebody wants to put a restaurant or coffee shop back in there, the 2 buildings are much better together to do that than apart. And that would be an opportunity that could be done. We could work with Carlotta and John to co-list it at maybe, I don't know. But it's up to them, but all those options, that would put that all back in play for the city. Which we think is good.
Marissa, do you have any nuts and bolts to share, I guess, as far as the request is concerned?
Do you want to explain the condition?
There was only one condition that we reached out to our building official. Similar to the armory, when we were looking at converting the space into a community center, there were questions about assembly use, and his recommendation is to engage in the services of a Minnesota licensed professional to make sure that the occupancy will facilitate that. We do have some recommendations of who the church could work with to make sure that those things are met. That would be the one condition that they were aware of going into, this space, that to make sure that it would be adequately able to facilitate assembly with that many people in there.
Thank you, Marissa. Any questions from the council here? Does everybody feel like they have enough information to make a good informed decision right now? I guess that was pretty easy. Not that much of a hot seat.
Wait, let me try harder.
There you go.
Anybody else from the public wish to comment on the conditional use permit process here, the permit itself? All right, we can close down the recess here, the comment section of it, and move right into discussion item B, which is resolution 23, the approval of a conditional use permit. So yeah, basically resolution 23 is to affirm this conditional use permit for Grace Church to utilize that building, that's the current Barbell Club building, as a church. So I'll call for a motion to approve resolution 23.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion's been made by Ferguson, seconded by Howard to approve resolution 23. Any other discussion?
Yes, I'd just like to say for the planning commission, next time, really focus more on in a business district. I have a feeling it's gonna have an unanticipated economic impact that is not gonna be good for the downtown. So. That's all I'll say on that.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
All right.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Okay, thank you very much. We'll move down to discussion item C, Marcus Construction Prime Contract Change Order 11. Material invoice. Great.
Thank you. We'll let
You guys know.
people clear out of the room a little bit. So as you all recall, the change order was tabled at our last meeting for Marcus Construction and city staff to dig into it further. And so today we have 2 members of our Marcus Construction team, Brian Peterson, who's the controller for Marcus Construction, and CJ Sanger as well, who is the project manager of the project, here to discuss the issues. So Brian's here, and I'm gonna have CJ as well. There we go, unmute his video. So Brian, we'll let you take it away.
All right, that sounds good. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Oh, one second. We're figuring out our sound. You are unmuted. Can you go to the audio for me? Try the Sony.
It's on the Logitech up one now.
Yep, that's loud. Can you try taking one more time, Brian?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, all right, good deal. I have enough trouble with my earbuds. It wouldn't surprise me if it was me, but yeah, so at your last meeting, we had presented that change order of about $56,000. And it was items related to the material contract, the purchasing agent agreement. And the rules in the state of Minnesota are set up so that when we act as an agent on your behalf, all the risk of the materials are on you. And so I had directed, in order to keep your tax exempt status passed through to us, we need to bill that. And I had directed CJ to do that. And we had a new project accountant on the project, and I had removed myself from it a little bit. So when you guys questioned that, we went back and looked at that change order more closely, did some reconciliations, and we came up with, of that 56,000, 38,000 that were things that, yes, they were materials that were purchased on behalf of the city, but they were things that we thought were either due to an error by Marcus during the project, or something perhaps that we did that may or may not have been necessary and you guys hadn't approved it. So we obviously said, well, we have to charge you that on the material side. We'll give you a credit on that labor contract to offset that. Then we also found about $12,000 of items that really should be charged on the material contract, but we had been presenting them throughout the whole process, the whole construction project, as items that would be covered by contingency. And really, the material contract isn't set up to be able to use contingency, but because we'd been presenting it that way, we decided we're not going to charge you for that. And so we were down to like $6,000, and we had presented a new change order for about that amount to Elizabeth on Thursday, I think, last week. And Elizabeth called me on Friday then, and we talked about that. And Marcus just agreed that at this point we're fine with dropping that 6,000 to. We ultimately want to, leave on good terms with the city of Olivia. We've enjoyed this project. It's been overall a good project, a nice building. And Elizabeth was great to work with. She did a great job navigating all the stuff with the USDA. And just kind of keeping the project moving, even though there were new people coming in on the USDA side that she had to deal with, and kept the project moving, which avoided delays and saved the city money and saved Marcus money as well. So yeah, we would love to work with the city again sometime again in the future. So ultimately what we ended up with is we're just not adding any additional change here at the end of the project. So we've submitted a change order that increases the material contract by roughly 56,000 and decreases the labor contract by roughly 56,000. Any questions on that?
Any questions from the council?
No questions. Thank you for the explanation.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right.
So if there are no questions, you can vote to approve it. We're gonna keep Brian and CJ on though, because we also have pay apps. So if they have any questions on pay apps, you guys are right here.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so for discussion item C, I'll call for a motion to approve change order number 11.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Baumgartner, seconded by Ferguson to approve change order number 11. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, change order 11 has been approved. Thank you. Okay, moving down to item D, pay app number 10.
Pay app number 10, so our apologies, the paper printed in your packet only goes to see these pay apps were added over the weekend, and Jasmine, in her, good preparation to leave before vacation, she pre-printed a lot of materials. But the next pay apps that you see are going to be for material and for labor, and we need them to close out the project, but you can also see that they're being reduced, each one by the amounts that we had discussed. But if you have any questions on those, Brian and CJ are here to answer them.
Right, both of those credit invoices are what are necessary to get the total amount billed on the contract to match what that final change order showed.
And these are all the documents we need to close out the project with USDA, where we can then switch over from our interim financing to our USDA financing.
I'll call for a motion to approve pay apps 10 materials and pay app 10 labor. Motion's been made by Baumgartner, seconded by Howard. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Pay apps have been approved. Thank you, Marcus Construction, for your partnership on this. We definitely appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving down to committee reports. Anybody from the council have any committee reports to report on? I think the PUC had a meeting, right?
Yes, and I was out of town, so I'm interested.
PUC did have a meeting. They got to tour the new water wastewater shed as well as the electrical sheds. They were very impressed. They really liked seeing kind of those operations. They dug in a little bit more. They made Joe open some of the green transformer boxes because somebody was like, "Oh, that's on my yard. What's in it?" So that was a nice learning opportunity. They elected officers at that meeting. Riley Pollock is the new chair. Jack Carlson is the vice chair. And then they also discussed, staff had a meeting with Power System Engineering, who's the electrical engineer for the city. And so we started discussing what future electric department projects might look like, with PSC's partnership. And we presented the kind of 4 different projects for the Public Utilities Commission to look at, to consider, and then to present their recommendation to council on kind of the priority list of projects. Where we're at now is we're getting more concrete kind of scopes of work and dollar amounts, so that they can make a better informed recommendation to council. But what they're looking at for projects, is one, they were all very intrigued by getting the electric utility on our ArcGIS mapping system. So our water, wastewater, and storm sewer utilities are all in a GIS interface. It makes locates and things like that really easy when you can take your phone and tablet and you have an interactive map. You can click on it and see this fire hydrant was installed in 1950. These pipes are this material. The electric department is still operating out of paper-based maps. So you want to update those maps. They go through these big reams of paper. They white out their changes. They send them to PSE. They update the paper maps. So looking at kind of streamlining some efficiencies within our GIS system. Also looking at getting an updated construction plan for the electric department. The last kind of real construction plan that the department has had was 2015, 2016. So it's about a decade old. This helps the department understand where their project priorities should be. They're still working off of kind of that last project list. So they're still doing things according to a construction plan, but it's probably time to get a new one. Yeah.
When you say construction plan, are you talking about the undergrounding plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Undergrounding plan, looking at where your future load may be, things like that. Another one that they wanted to look at was getting a better valuation of the electric department utility.
I'll just for the public, help them understand. Undergrounding refers to when we when we try and bury the electrical lines. It's a big priority for us because it's a much safer network for us.
Yeah.
There's
Less prone to disruption.
Yeah.
Long-term, a lot of savings.
And this actually ties into the map. We're hoping that with our updated maps, we can get a better percentage for you all about what percentage of our system is actually underground. We're kind of all going off of at least 50%. But with updated maps, we should be able to have a better number. And then that kind of ties into our other project that we're looking at is kind of evaluation of the electric utility as a whole. It's been a discussion since I've arrived of making sure our electric utility is self-insured. And how we can best do that is understand the valuation of the system, and then it's a percentage of that valuation. So getting a new evaluation of what our electric utility is actually valued at, rough ballpark. The fourth project, which there wasn't as much interest in, was an updated load management system throughout the city. It doesn't sound like a lot of cities twice our size even have load management systems. It's a very resource intensive process to have an updated load management. And we're just not sure if the city would see a return on their investment for implementing a new load management system. So those are the kind of projects that they're looking at. That's the priority that currently the PUC has assigned to them. But they're going to see dollar amounts and maybe those priorities might change a little bit. So that was PUC.
Thank you for the comprehensive update on the PUC.
There you go.
Planning Commission, we met and we discussed this recommendation here about the conditional use permit. I don't believe there were any other talking points during that.
We're still looking at impervious surface and
Oh,
maximum impervious surface allowed via lots. It's just an ongoing topic.
That's right. Any other committee meetings? Any other reports from staff?
I'll just mention on Friday, Olivier EDA and Main Street Board in a joint effort did do local Valentine's Days to businesses. We hit about 95% of businesses in our community, just dropped off a little goodie bag, letting them know we really appreciate having them here. The Valentine included a nice little cute Valentine on the front and EDA resources on the back. So any businesses who need to reach out to the city for help with repairs or grants or stuff like that, they got a little goodie bag on Friday, which was nice.
It was very informative. Thank you for that.
You're
I got the note. The kids got the candy.
I was gonna say you got the note, but not the
Yeah,
candy.
yeah,
So, yeah.
You're like, there was Ken?
yeah. No, I saw the empty bag. I was like, oh, cool. Okay.
It was enjoyed then.
Yes.
That's the whole point. I don't know if there was any candy left over at the post office. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's made the rounds.
Okay, good.
Any other reports from staff? Okay. Any other formal notices or communications?
No.
Well, that's the end of the agenda. I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion's made by Ferguson, seconded by Evers to adjourn. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Yeah,
That is bringing back the funds. Hey.
Pam, you made it in plenty of time for your next meeting.
Thank you,
I
Pam.
did. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Right.
It is. I got it.